Hey you guys. So some of you might know me, some of you might not, but let me introduce myself really quick. My name is Cheyenne Stonechild. I am Cree and I'm Irish. I was born and raised here in Vancouver, BC, but originally I am from Fort Capel, Saskatchewan, Muskopeton First Nation. So a lot of what I'll be talking with you guys about today is the child welfare system. So most of my personal experience is framed that way. I have been in both the Ministry of Child and Family Development and the Vancouver Aboriginal Child and Family Services Society, a mainstream ministry and a specialized delegated agency. So, where to start? Let me start with one of the most important things close to my heart: genealogy. So, one massive thing that I think is definitely wrong with the ministry and also the Vancouver Aboriginal Child and Family Services Society, which I think is definitely against the rights of the children in their care, is the fact that they're not honoring, or I do not believe they are honoring, their cultural plans of care, their process, their supposed process, nor do they have the best interests of the child at their heart. Why do I say this? Because MCFD, VACFSS, only has or had 16 roots practitioners. So I don't know if you guys know what a roots practitioner is, but it is someone who's specifically there to help a child, an Indigenous child with our genealogy, in making a family connection or a community connection. So a lot of the practitioners that have worked, or who I've at least known in the past, have not been very experienced, nor have they been trained in genealogy. And absolutely, they were not really that well rehearsed with the various nations across Canada, let alone the ones in BC, nor any acknowledgement of the various languages, and the fact that there's over 50 nations and over 630 communities. It's very concerning. A lot of kids will get left behind without that service being offered adequately. I know it was really rough for me when I was in VACFSS to find my own family because I had no assistance. I had to scrape at the bottom of the barrel for the barest pieces of information and hope it means something. And thankfully, my determination reached its end. I did find something. I found my community. I found my brother. I found other family members. So this is in Saskatchewan, in Ontario, and my various family members have been across Canada. So keep in mind, with all of this in play, how many kids are in care of MCFD, whether through the mainstream or delegate agencies. How many workers, roots workers, are there who can adequately provide this service? And the fact that we know for a fact Indigenous kids are not reclaiming their culture. It's devastating, and I think it's against their rights, their treaty rights, the Convention on the Rights of the Child. I think it's also against their charter rights, to be honest. I'd love to explore that one day in greater detail. But unfortunately, it's taboo to say, because apparently they're doing it. But I don't see how 16, or at least under 20, on a really, really, really good day, people divided amongst that many youth, to be that knowledgeable about all the various nations and communities, and also to be that well networked. It's a high expectation to have, and I'm in serious doubt. And at least for me in my case, I didn't get any assistance. It was left to me. So that's one thing about child welfare that's really close to my heart is genealogy, family history, culture. And I do believe that there needs to be more of an emphasis on it. And I believe it's a right, especially the children. I believe it is their right to have quality access to service, especially a specialized service that they're already offering, and to see success from it, to actually make connections with their family members. So that's one thing. I only have so much time here, so I'll try to get through the next two things. Another thing that is near and dear to my heart is the Convention on the Rights of the Child. So even though that is supposed to be applied to all children, and all children are supposed to be informed, especially when they're in the care of the Ministry of Child and Family Development, I found, and especially in my case, I wasn't informed that I had rights until I got into my teenage years. When I became part of the Vancouver Aboriginal Child and Family Services Society Youth Advisory Committee, that was when I was informed and even taught that I had special rights afforded to me through the Convention on the Rights of the Child. I shouldn't have had to wait that long to find out that I had special rights that I could have utilized to express my interest, to address matters that I thought were important, but to also be respected when I felt not respected. And none of that was afforded to me. None of that was offered to me, not until much, much later. And I think, truly, legally, there should be a heavier emphasis on MCFD, all delegated agencies, to be very, very firm on what the Convention on the Rights of the Child is, and also for them not to take liberties with what the Convention means to them. They're two very different things. What the Convention means to a child and for how they can utilize it for themselves, and what that means to them, by them, and it was made for them, against what an adult uses it for. Now, I've seen in a lot of cases, especially since I've aged out of care, and advocated with other groups, and also heard stories from other peers who have aged out of care, and I've seen it in younger kids who have been in care. Majority of the social workers, other workers, even lawyers and court workers, will utilize the best interest of the child through the CRC and cite that against a child without consulting them nor informing them that that convention is there for them. For some reason, and for some absurd reason that I don't understand, no one will call them out for it, that there might be a minor abuse in some circles, or it's just accepted now that, like, maybe it's instinct even, that we overassert ourselves or have as adults upon children, and this was an avenue in which to be used. Instead of remembering where it was centered, the heart of it was for children. So I think there's been some misuse of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, especially with the best interest of the child and the right to be heard. And I think it's really against the children. And I'd love for more people to point it out. And also I'd love for children to be more informed that they have very special rights that are afforded to them through the convention, through the charter, through treaty rights, that they can utilize to address their situation. It'd be phenomenal. Unfortunately, taboo. I suspect many adults in their lives won't go for it. And will even, address, their mental capacity, their age. They shouldn't be allowed to speak. We, as a community, as a group of people trying to step forward, should not be handling situations like that. We need to encourage children and youth, especially Indigenous children and youth, to step up and be at that table, at our table, and make space for them to truly hear them and allow them to use their rights, express themselves, and for us to maybe take a couple more steps back. I know we want what's best for the children in our community, but I deeply am concerned with what I've seen in the last couple years, where adults have been abusing the convention for their own agenda, not children speaking up for themselves on their own situation. And that's a great divide. I only have a couple minutes left, so I'll try to make this really, really quick. Another thing that would be amazing, and I think is definitely not talked about super often, is the freedom of information. So, or at least transparency of information, especially regarding Indigenous people, children and families, what that means for children and youth. There's actually a lot of ways for children to realize what services are available to them if information, at least in BC, let alone any other province and city, was being a touch more transparent on what's accessible and open, possibly even available for children to address and say that they, or at least indicate that they may want to access such a service. I know that's going to be terribly uncommon of an opinion, but I just think the lack of transparency, the complexity to access any information, especially when you're a child, it's too much. It's too hard. It should all be in one place, in child-friendly language, and services should be listed, and also divided up whether or not they're public or private, and if they apply to either Indigenous kids or not, and can they access such things without a referral to make sure that their needs, their rights, the laws are being respected in their case, and for them to be able to realize the support that's really there in the community. It'd be amazing. So I hope that's really clear with the last couple points. It's kind of hard to squish this down in only a couple minutes. So genealogy, roots practitioners, too many youth in care, not enough roots practitioners with the knowledge nor education to do so, and not enough people talking about that. The Convention on the Rights of the Child, the misuse of it by adults, by the Ministry of Child and Family Development and delegate agencies against children rather than children being encouraged to step up for themselves, and also to address if adults are abusing such things. And transparency, freedom of information, we need more of it. We need to be sharing and encouraging children to access just more resources and info about their situation so that they know where they can go to help when such things are going sideways. Anyways, that's all for today. Again, thank you Continuing Legal Education Society for inviting me. It's been an amazing couple years. I hope we can continue to work together. And thank you for everyone else who came today to share at the Indigenous Women and the Laws Conference. I'm so excited that I got the chance to sit here and listen from all of you and learn. And it makes me inspired that the community is going in such directions.